The field that we're doing was structural design and architecture. And she's actually a professor at NYU in the Department of Arts and Arts Professions, but I actually worked at her home, the project that I was working on, and it was called XDesign, Drawing in Air. So my mentor is actually the key component of the project. So she's an artist, she's an engineer, she's an environmentalist. She's director of the XDesign Environmental Health Clinic at NYU, and her aim is to bridge a gap between humans and our natural environment through interactive art, technology, and science. So basically, she just wants to use new technologies, and she created this project, this branch from the Department of NYU of the Department of Arts, in order for us to use new technologies to actually improve our environmental concerns. So what is XDesign and what is the X Clinic? So she's the director of the X Clinic, and XDesign is actually the bigger umbrella, and X Clinic is under that. So XDesign basically means experimental design, and that basically entails that experimental creation to explore the opportunities for new technologies to promote nonviolent social and economic change. So basically, like I said before, she tries to instill new technologies and the advancements in science in order for her to improve the environment and environmental awareness. The Environmental Health Clinic actually runs like a regular medical clinic. It has appointments, inpatients, and prescriptions. The only twist is that it addresses environmental concerns. So you don't go in there to discuss your medical individual concerns. You go in there to, you make an appointment with her, and you go in there and you address what you think is wrong or what you think you can change about the environment in your local area. So some factors that she discusses with her clients, which are called inpatients. The reason they're called inpatients is because she calls them inpatients because they're impatient for environmental change in their neighborhoods, and they're tired of local officials saying they're going to improve the air quality and the water quality, and they don't really do much, so they're impatient for change. And basically, prescriptions, she doesn't give you prescriptions for pharmaceuticals. She gives you prescriptions for actions you can actually take to improve your environment. Or when referrals, so in a regular clinic, they would give you a referral to a doctor or to a specialist. Here she gives you referrals to organizations and people that are in charge of environmental awareness programs and that can actually help you. So say a mother goes in there and she wants, her concern is that her child gets lead paint. So what she would do is actually she would take her and she would take her appointment, she would go and she would see Professor Jomijenko, and she would actually try to find some kind of project where they can improve the lead paint, or they can actually do something. Because her quote is basically, you know how they tell you, in order to improve your environment, you know, save water, turn off this, turn off that. But basically what she's saying is, what can we do? What is stuff that we can actually do instead of not doing things? What are things that we can actually do? And that's basically what her clinic is about. So the project that worked on, the first objective was to reduce the high concentrations of particulate matter in the urban air. So basically that means, it ties in with the second objective, to improve air quality in urban areas through inexpensive and immediate means. So she wants projects that normal people and regular people that go into her clinic are going to be able to do. Like these are the actual, so if somebody went in her clinic and asked her, I want to improve the outdoor air quality because I have asthma or another respiratory disease. So this would be her prescription to, which is actually, I'm going to go into what the project is going to be, to improve the air quality and how we're going to do that. So, like I said before, particulate matter, what is it and why is it dangerous? Particulate matter is actually a mixture of very small solid particles and liquid droplets in the air. So that includes dust, smoke, anything that can actually get into your system through the pollution in the air. And what we were focusing on was actually fine particulate matter, which is actually the particles that are actually 25 microns in diameter are actually small. So you see the diagram there. So this is actually human hair. So this is it's from 60, like about 60 diameters in width, and this is sand. So this is like 90, and what we're after is this thing right here. So you see how small it is? This is very small. So this is, it's either 2.5 microns or lower. So this stuff can actually, it's dangerous because it can get into your lungs. And once it gets into the lungs, it sticks to the alveoli, and the alveoli they're in charge of diffusing the oxygen into your blood, and so that interferes with that. So you see the main sources of particulate matter are trucks and diesel engines. So you see the exhaust coming from that and entering the lungs. And so the particulate matter which is actually coming out, which is actually right here, and this is only 10 microns. So particulate matter is smaller than this. So it goes into your lungs, and it basically, you see how it's entering the air sacs, and it's basically damaging your entire lung system, little by little. So this is actually why you see a lot of asthma rates in places where they have a lot of bus stops or a lot of diesel engines. So the project, I was actually working on the term to find a remedy for this was called drying air, so filtering out polluted urban air. So this basically, what we're trying to do is create a passive solar chimney to capture black carbon. When I talk about black carbon, I mean the same things we're talking about, the PM 2.5 particulate matter, the fine particulate matter that gets inside the lungs. So once we capture the junk, the bad stuff in the air, the particulate matter, we plan to actually make them into pencils. So instead of keeping it into your lungs, you can measure, not only can you measure how much in a certain area, like you see, say we took this amount from, say, an area in the Bronx, so we can compare this amount to another area maybe in Harlem. So you can see this pencil that was made from the particulate matter is actually bigger. So you can tell there was actually more pollution that was captured here than here. They're actually graphite pencils. So we convert the particulate matter that is actually trapped in the chimney, and we convert the pencils to lead. So my job was basically to research potential sites for the chimney and possible sponsors who would actually help fund the project. So when I researched, I found out that East and Central Harlem had really bad asthma rates because of bus depot and diesel engines, South Bronx too. For every 4 children in Harlem, there is 1 child that has asthma. And a lot of studies show that it's actually due to what the professor is actually trying to fix, the pollution from the diesel engines and all of that. Yeah. I also found out that most polluted areas have a lot of asthma rates. And these polluted areas are usually low-income areas, a lot of ethnic neighborhoods in urban areas. We're focusing on mostly urban areas. How can we clean the urban air? Sustainable South Bronx and WEACT were actually two environmental organizations. WEACT is actually an environmental organization for Harlem, and South Sustainable Bronx is actually for the South Bronx. And they aim to, like it says right there, it's environmental justice. So they want to fix air quality, water quality in these areas, and they do a lot of projects, and we think these are probably organizations that would be interested in funding the drying air project. So the chimney, how exactly is the chimney going to be? So She hasn't exactly started working on it. She still has the visualization. So basically, she kind of did this little visualization. So this is a regular building. You can see the south face of the building. And then what she wants to do is she wants to cover this with the chimney. So when I mean chimney, mostly you think like a tube or something that, it's just called chimney because it's kind of like the shape of it. And so basically it'll end up like that. So it'll cover this whole side of the building. And when the air filters through it, the air will filter, it will go inside through the bottom and it will come out clean. Well, not clean, but filtered because the particles are actually getting trapped in the filter. This is another building. The shaded area is actually what she's actually trying to say. If she wants to cover this building with the project with the chimney, there are 3 ways she can do it. So a tube just going down, just put the plastic from upward to downward, and or she can actually go through and maneuver and design the chimney to go through the windows. Not through the windows, but like the drawing entails. And this one is actually this way to design the chimney is actually right here. So you cover the whole side of the building. The materials needed for the chimney, so these are the filters. The filters, standard HVAC filters to capture the particles in the air. Large piece of greenhouse plastic, polyethylene, pallet wrap, or other plastic. So what she aims to do is she says she wants to use the greenhouse effect to address the greenhouse effect. So the greenhouse effect is basically, all this bad contamination getting into the air. And so what she wants to do is she wants to use simple tools like this. You can get this if you go to an HVAC store, you can get this in the regular plastic, and you can actually try to make this because she wants to make this so that, like I said, regular, all her clients can go in and they can actually construct this chimney. So, like the greenhouse effect, so I'll explain it later, there's another diagram later, but also obviously we need access to a south-facing building. So, this is the diagram I was talking about. So how it works is the greenhouse effect. So the sun heats up the chimney, which is why it's called a solar chimney. The sun heats up the chimney, the air, which is naturally going through it, heats up, so the hot air rises due to the greenhouse effect, due to the plastic that's actually used to make this part of the chimney. And then the air goes through the filter, and once it goes through the filter, you see the idea is that the particles would get trapped here. And so that the clean air continues to go out, and so it's clean. Not clean, well, it's less with these particles. So that's basically what the idea of the chimney is. So once that is actually done, what we're going to do to create the pencils is we're going to, like I said, we're going to take the gunk and all of that stuff from the filter, and we're actually going to use like a simple step that doesn't really require much machinery to make the pencils. So first, we remove obviously the filter. We use that filter and we exchange it for a new one, and we send it to the X clinic. And that's all basically what the person has to do. And then in the X clinic, they will release the particles with water. So they will run the filter through water. And once they have that, they have the particles, which are probably going to be wet. They're going to dry them, and it's going to convert into like a powder. And once you have that powder, they mix it with, like it says there, binders and moisten with requisite amount of water to form stiff dough. So it'll be like dough. And then after you have that, you use that to form the shape of the lead. And then you put it into the solar chimney.